It's gonna be May. Kyle Schasberger, David Kahn. Postseason starts this month, bro.
Whoa.
Can you believe that?
How did that happen?
3 weeks from today, the top 4 seeds in Hoover will be debuting. And 29 days from today, we'll have Friday, May 30th, which starts regional play in the NCAA tournament.
Yes. That is amazing stuff. I can't believe it's already May, which means in 3 days, one of the greatest days of the year, May the 4th be with you. And then the next day is Cinco de Drinko. All right. It's not Cinco de Mayo. It's Cinco de Drinko. Great few days coming up here. And then the postseason starts for college baseball. Can't be better. We'll have a bracket this month. We're going to have a bracket on May 26th. And then regional weekend begins. And should we tell the folks, Shas, since we know that this is confirmed, that it's back? Should we reveal?
Yeah, I don't know who's working it. I got to send out an email after this and start figuring out who's going to run the board and what shifts are going to who. But yeah, go ahead. Unveil the plans.
Regional Rundown is back for year 2, folks. It will be bigger and better than ever. We're excited about it. If you missed it last year, tune in. It is red zone style college baseball all around regional weekend. We had, I think, 56 of the 64 teams last year. Is that correct? We had basically every
we missed 4. We only missed 4. I thought we had 60.
Okay, we had 60 of the 64. Excuse me. And the only 4 we missed did not have a radio feed, so we had no way to get it to you. But every school that had a radio feed, we got that feed, and we had it available. So you want to listen to your local school radio broadcast, red zone style, whip around style, with commentary from yours truly, Kyle Schasberger, David Kahn, others. We had Gabe Genovese, Paul Roper, Dan Kortz last year helped us out. Hopefully more will be joining this growing crusade that we have created out of literally nothing, and we are excited to bring it back. The NCAA Baseball Regional Rundown, year 2 is coming to your regional weekend starting Friday, May 30th, all the way through Monday to complete regional weekend. It's going to be fun.
At Kyle Shas, at SportsCon4 on Twitter, on X. We are live right now on YouTube, Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dumbbells. Come under the tent. Join us. Post the link. It's on Twitter. You'll see it. And interact with us, okay? We've gone through 3 days of reflecting with the Learfield audio retreat. So we're trying to do what we can to take these steps to help to organically grow the video component of this show. If you do hop in on YouTube at any time, you might see me already pandering to all of you to help with the regional show, whether that's through board hopping or talent. We are accepting applications to help put on this Emmy Award, should be Emmy Award winning production. It certainly will be when it's all said and done, whether it's Con and I working, relentlessly for 72 hours straight and not going home. Like, just bring your bedpan with you. Instead of your lunch pail, bring your bedpan with you to the office, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Gloves are off. Let's do this damn thing. All right. 100 men versus 1 gorilla. Con, who you got?
Listen, we discussed this at length yesterday in the office, and it has to be 1 gorilla. You are not beating a silverback gorilla with 100 men. I don't care who they are. They could be 100 Chuck Norrises, did you know that Chuck Norris is 85 years old?
No, he's not. Shut the front door.
Yes, he is. Chuck Norris.
No, he is not. That's
yes.
Fake news. That's
no,
fake
it's not.
News.
March 10th, 1940. He is 85 years young as of a month and a half ago. Yes, look it up. 85 years old and kicking. Anyways, you have 100 Chuck Norrises versus 1 silverback gorilla, and the silverback gorilla will annihilate them. It won't even be close. All right? The caveat that we had in this discussion that we had in the office yesterday after some iconic reenactments that we portrayed in the morning that we will not talk about on this podcast because some of them are NSFW. But
for the uninitiated, okay, this took over early in the week, I think through Twitter, X initially, through social media. It's become a global debate now that everyone is sort of having fun with. And resurrecting or, arguing their own stance of whether or not the Silverback would win over 100 men, which I tend to lean that. Yes, I'm never going to doubt the Silverback Gorilla. I, in another life, will become the Silverback Gorilla. But this is also a sore subject because I had one objective for Disney World last week. One thing I had to absolutely see, experience, and endure, and that was to visit my family, the Silverback Gorillas, and did not get the opportunity to see them. So don't get me going here on a rant. I'll let you continue the story. Go.
No. So anyways, the one caveat we had is if 100 people were committed, unrelenting in this pursuit of defeating the Silverback Gorilla, yes, the 100 men would win. But realistically, there is no chance that you would find 100 willing contributors because we would need 100 Kyle Schasbergers, and that doesn't exist because Kyle Schasberger, as we've already detailed ad nauseum, is one of one. There is no other Kyle Schasberger. You would need 100 of them that were committed and not wilting at all, unwilting towards this Silverback Gorilla. If you had that, yes, you would probably eventually take it down. But that's not how the world works. That's how people are. That first man would mosey on up there. He'd be all strong. Silverback Gorilla, give him a go 1-2. He'd be sent skyward, and the other 99 would be running for the hills, and that would be that.
To clarify, this hypothetical went viral April 24th, so we're a little over a week of this conversation consuming all of our lives. Mr. Beast even got involved. James Charles, the big-time YouTube influencer, chipped in with his 2 cents, too. Yes, you would need 100 Kyle Schasbergers. My chat with my fellow best friend Chicagoans and close brothers of mine, quote unquote, we've been debating this topic over the last couple of days, and we all came down on we needed 10 Kyle Schasbergers, 10 Donnie Duck Settles, 10 Big Mikes, 10 Montes, and we could collectively have the proper psyche, at least, confidence and swagger to go in undeterred to be able to slay the Silverback Gorilla. But, in all honesty, I'd rather stay on the other side of the ropes. I wouldn't want to hurt one of my own, and there would be no need to take down one of these fine creatures. So I'm good. I'm good with that. It's not that I'm scared of failure or defeat or, the family-on-family crime that would occur with the Silverback detaching every limb of my body. I would not want that. I wouldn't want to put him in a situation where he had to make that decision. And we know what decision he would be making. I think too much of my brother, Mr. Silverback, in that regard. Yeah. So, all right, this is what's coming up on the show today. We'll rapid fire go through some of these notable midweeks. There were a few that caught my eye. We'll look ahead to the weekend lineup card and react to some of the Field of 64 projections that D1Baseball.com put out earlier this week. It might be the second or third. They're doing it more routinely now, Kyle, but you and I haven't had an opportunity to discuss any of this at this point. So it's kind of later in the year than we even dive in for the first time. So, and I'm going to give it just a fresh, organic, as I often do with so many things and topics on this show. I'm just going to give it a clean look and give you some guttural reactions with not much. I did just do 25 minutes of local radio in Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you to Steve Molden and John Abraham. If you want some SEC-centric talk, which has already got me all lubed up, fired up for Hoover here as I join with you right now. But we discussed a lot of SEC things. So I've got some notes. I've got some more bad on Missouri. We may make our way there in that direction. I also want to give a shout out to LSU Shreveport before we start with the midweek con. 47-0. We didn't get to this on Tuesday's show because the Mississippi State breaking news overwhelmed us in many regards, and we were giving names left and right. There were a few we left off. We'll get to that before we tee up the weekend lineup card as Kendall Rogers released his hot board. And I was like, God damn, I meant to bring these guys up on Tuesday. Either way, we'll come back to LSU Shreveport. 47-0. They finish with 47 consecutive wins entering the postseason. NAIA program, 11 all-conference selections. 11 out of the Red River Athletic Conference. There's only 18 slots. They've got 11 of them. They filled up the entire infield. They have 4 pitching slots. They've got the newcomer of the year, the pitcher of the year, and the player of the year, as you would expect. 47-0. The record, I didn't write this down, but I did read it. I think it's 54 consecutive victories at any level of college baseball for a 4-year institution or 2-year, any level in period. The 47 in a row, and I could be wrong, is a 4-year institution, 4-year model record, 47 consecutive wins. So LSU Shreveport does have that no matter NAIA, Division III, Division II, and so forth. So congrats to them. Impressive stuff. Con, you want to tell me what the hell is the problem with West Virginia in the midweeks all of a sudden?
Nothing. This is typical.
Okay.
There's no problem. This is typical. At this point in the year, I mean, I get it, Steve Sabins and not Randy Mazie, but at this point in the year, yes, they're not. I'm not gonna say they're not trying to win the midweeks, but it's all about the Big 12, man. They've won 14 in a row in the Big 12, 4 straight Big 12 sweeps. They are projected to host. They are currently the number 12 overall national seed. Losing a midweek to Marshall 7-6 on an error is not going to be that much of a detriment. I was looking at West Virginia Twitter last night, and people are like, "Oh, there goes hosting. We lost to Marshall." That's not how it works. You won 2 out of 3 in the season series against Marshall anyways. You lost 1 game. It is not the end of the world. The world is not on fire. You're going to be fine. I don't care. It's just they play Texas Tech this weekend. Focus on sweeping that series.
I gave West Virginia some love in Huntsville. You should know. We were talking more nationally. UC Irvine and Coastal Carolina both projected as top 16 seeds on this week's projections from D1Baseball.com. More on that in a moment. The Anteaters, the final national seed at number 8. So, yeah, West Virginia loses back-to-back midweek, 7-6 to Marshall. UNCW, 9-3 over NC State. Kind of takes the winds out of the sails somewhat. Again, it's a midweek game. Midweeks matter. Not trying to diminish it. But the Wolfpack did sweep Clemson this past weekend. And then my surefire lock missed with number 25 Kansas winning, unsurprisingly, 9-3 over Missouri, which takes us to the Missouri Tigers. Might as well here, Con. 0-21 in the league. Hasn't happened since 1962 that a team has gone winless in the SEC, but that was loss number 31 for Mizzou earlier this week. 13 wins, 31 losses, 206th now in ERA nationally. I'm sorry, batting average, 267 batting average, 288th in ERA, 9.63. They conclude with Georgia at home at A&M and against Mississippi State in Como. The AD, you sent me an interesting video here over the last 24 hours saying, yeah, we haven't invested enough in baseball. Yeah, you think?
yeah, right. Duh. Like, I mean, like, I get it. He's trying to save face right now, but yeah, no kidding. Like, that was obvious. You didn't need to say that. We all knew that. It is a historically bad season for Missouri. There's really no other way to put it. Like you mentioned, the last team to do it was Vanderbilt in 1962.
Yes.
That went unbeaten unwinnable, no wins, winless, I should say, in conference play at 0-30, and they got 3 series left. I think that it will come down to the final series against Mississippi State to determine whether Missouri gets a win. I think Georgia and Texas A&M will sweep Missouri, especially when you have to go to College Station, and Texas A&M is still fighting, charging to get into the postseason, but they are projected in this week's field. The number 3 seed in the Los Angeles region with UCLA as the host. They are projected there in what I think is one of a few very tough draws, Kyle Schasberger.
Missouri is a proud program, proud journalism, communication school.
Oh, yeah.
Your very own roommate is cut from that cloth. And
he is.
An SEC institution, still relatively new. I guess 13 years they've been there. But what I'm getting at is very proud university. I mean, flagship institution of the state of Missouri. And they have balance across a lot of their programs. The AD said, look, there's investment that has been missing with a lot of our Olympic programs. Gymnastics just had a top 5 national finish just a couple of short weeks ago. But man, when Missouri's just kind of, it's vanilla, right? Like they're just always kind of there. They might pop off and have one really good year. Like think of the football, Chase Daniel, years ago, the year 6 run, even Eli Drinkowitz in Missouri beating Ohio State a couple of years ago. But football was very poor during that Pinkel and Odom transition and had to reimagine themselves in the SEC just a few short years ago. Like it felt like they had hit rock bottom, and now they've got something with Eli Drinkowitz, and they're a competitive team, competitive product. They're not a laughing stock. Okay, they're no. Certainly not the laughing stock in football that Vanderbilt football had been for ever since James Franklin had left. But now maybe things are starting to turn. A team that beat Alabama at home on the gridiron this past year. All that to say, when they fail, when they are bad, they fail in the most miserable fashion as a whole, athletically. So this is something Mizzou folks are accustomed to as recently as last year, David. Let me remind you, Missouri men's basketball went 0-18 in the regular season of the Southeastern Conference. 0-18. And now, 2 years later, year and a half, when we look at the calendar, less than that, really, they are embarking upon an 0-30 stretch. Now, they're not there yet. And that will be a lot of pressure on said Mississippi State should they be the ones playing at an 0-27 Missouri the final weekend of the regular season, to be able to a team that is already fighting for their lives. And we talked about it on Tuesday, just a 7-2 stretch. Hell, 6-3 should be your goal. And you might be sneaking into the postseason with a win in Hoover coming up less than 3 weeks from now. That's a lot of pressure on a team. Even Mizzou, you can conversely say, to be able to avoid going over in the SEC. But man, 0-18 in men's basketball, 0-21 right now in the SEC, in baseball. Gosh, that's some rough stuff, man.
It is some rough stuff. And from someone who personally experienced an 0-18 men's basketball conference record for his team, his Tulane Green Wave, about 6 years ago, it is not fun. Nobody is having a good time right now in that stretch. It's even when you convert it over to baseball and you're 0-21. I mean, these guys want to win so freaking bad. But the problem is, when you want to win that badly, sometimes you play a little too tight and you try and play a little too perfect. And you're sitting there going, everything's got to go exactly the way it needs to for us to get a win. Just play baseball. Like if you can get these guys to play loose, Carrick Jackson, get these guys to play loose, just go out there and do what they know how to do as college baseball players. It'll hopefully lend itself to at least one victory. Nobody wants to see Missouri go 0-30. Nobody. There's literally no one on the planet that wants to see a team go 0-30. There's no media members rooting for it. Not even like Kansas, who's rivals with Missouri, wants to see Missouri go 0-30. It's bad for the game. It's bad for the SEC, but it's bad for the game of college baseball in general. So we are all rooting for Missouri to at least get one victory before they make it to Hoover. So let's hope the Tigers get it done.
Part of the messaging from administration was, the lack of investment even in the facility. And what is it, Taylor Stadium and new field turf and the new surface and that sort of thing. I have a solution. Have the Missouri Tigers come to Lexington, North Carolina, and play at Holt-Moffitt Field with a hill in left center that wraps all the way around from foul pole to foul pole and inverts up to 10 feet tall at 45 degrees at its tallest point in left field and in the left center. Let them come play at Holt-Moffitt Field. Missouri, come to Lexington, North Carolina. And by golly, by then, due to the charm and nostalgia that exists with a ballpark that has been in Lexington since 1938, you will be able to use that to your advantage and will score an SEC win. I'm talking about the home of the Lexington Flying Pigs. Colin, we talked about this a few weeks back. For those that are in the North Carolina area, Greater Triad, across the state, you want to check ballparks off the list. Maybe you can't afford a visit to a major league ballpark, whether that be in Baltimore, D.C., Atlanta. Choose your drug. That is Major League Baseball. By the way, holy smokes. Some of these ballparks need better protection, okay? We need to protect the fans from falling onto the field when they are hammered. Okay, everything I've seen at this point, and I'm sorry if I'm being tone deaf for the situation, but everything I've seen is the dude's going to be okay, and maybe I'm wrong, okay? Yeah. Okay, the dude is going to be all right, but by God, maybe you don't get blacked out when you're sitting front row in the second deck beyond the outfield wall. And maybe the folks that are around you take better care of you and don't allow you to rip your jersey or your shirt off earlier and then shower yourself with beer and then you're so drunk swaying back and forth that happens. Like, let's be better friends, okay? But I'll tell you one place that would be safe for your next ball game experience. That is Holt-Moffitt Field. In Missouri, you want a home field advantage? Maybe Taylor Stadium in Como can take a page out of Holt-Moffitt's field and create some sort of geographic advantage with the ballpark dimensions or the obstacles or amenities or whatever it may be, nuances of the park to help them at home. What do you think, David Kahn?
I am I'm here for it. I'm also just here to go check out Holt Moffett Field ourselves. We're going to a game this summer, right? We have to go see this iconic hill across the ballpark, and I know they have two different types of seating options as well, right? They got regular bleachers, and then they have like kind of blocks you can sit on the sides. So a little bit of different experience there from a seating perspective for the fans. But I'm excited to go see the Lexington Flying Pigs. And sure, I think anything at this point would be better for Missouri than what they're doing right now. So why not set up a iconic venue at Holt Moffett Field and play an SEC series there? Why not? Iowa does it with Iowa City. They play their games there sometimes. So why not Missouri come to Lexington, North Carolina? Who says no?
Tip of the cap to Danny Kirkman, who helps to run the organization, part of a 24-team Old North State League. And the Lexington Flying Pigs, a collegiate summer team made up of players from all over the country. Home games at the historic Holt Moffett Field starting at the end of May. So, yeah, Con, you and I will get there. And that block, that cinder block-looking seating behind home plate exists in a lot of the facilities that Pudge and I go to for her games. That's like such a Lexington, South Winston-Salem. Might be all across the state of North Carolina, to be honest. I haven't been enough to these old, famous, old-timey ballparks. But, yeah, that hill resembles what is the old home of the Cincinnati Reds. That's kind of what this thing was built off of, Crossley Field. So, again, up to 10 feet tall, an inverted 45-degree angle in the outfield. Outfielders will play the bounce off the wall. Things like that might help Missouri baseball. Let's just recreate the feel and dimensions for the Mizzou Tigers, and then maybe they will win a game in the SEC. So if you want more information, just go to the Lexington Flying Pigs website. Check them out. Play will get underway at the end of May. Trust me, you'll enjoy it. If you're a fan of old-timey ballparks, do that. They also, Danny and Lexington, they partner with Coach Ballgame, who is a strong advocate employed by Major League Baseball with youth programs, teaching, proper fundamentals of teamwork and skills, but also, the chemistry, the camaraderie, the love of the game, how to use that in your everyday life, helping to build good habits, good routines with youngsters. Coach Ballgame, Con, has 275,000 followers on Instagram. I mean, this guy is a national treasure, all right? Coach Ballgame. So if you're unfamiliar, look him up. Okay, let's get the Field of 64 projections. What stands out to you, my friend? I mentioned Coastal and UC Irvine, projected by D1Baseball.com this week, are both hosts. And UC Irvine, the number 8 national seed. There are 7 host teams out of the SEC, 4 out of the ACC, 1 independent in Oregon State, 1 out of the Big 12 in West Virginia. The Big 10 rep is UCLA. And then out of the Sun Belt Conference, it's Southern.
Coastal.
It's Coastal. Yeah, Coastal. I'm sorry. Right now. And then one Big West host being UC Irvine. Again, the 8 national seed. Cal Poly is projected in as one of the 64, given the Big West 2 teams in total.
They are projected to go to the Los Angeles Regional right now to play in UCLA's home ballpark, Jackie Robinson Field. Shaz, quick question for you, trivia question. Do you know the last time a non-Power 4 team was, or Power 5, we have to include the Power 5 in this, a non-Power 5 team was a top 8 national seed?
Man.
Just give me the year. You don't need to name the team, but give me the year you think it was.
Okay. Top 8 national seed. Georgia Southern was just the 16 hosting, so not a national seed. Technically, have we only been dealing with national seeds, though, like a few years in terms of the 1 through 8? Okay, all right.
We've had these.
Well, we had that change of making sure we're ranking 9 through 16 appropriately.
Oh, yes, correct. That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
I'm including all the way back with the 1 through 8. So back to 99, all the way back to 99. When was the last time, most recent time, that we had a non-Power 5 national seed?
2011.
Too far. So technically the answer is 2022 with East Carolina. But I don't count that. East Carolina is a baseball blue blood. They are included in the power teams in college baseball. The real answer that I'm going with is 2015, when the Bears of Missouri State were the number 8 national seed, along with UCLA number 1, LSU number 2, Louisville number 3, Florida, Miami, Illinois, TCU 4 through 7, then Missouri State at number 8. Missouri State, though, was already determined that they would not be able to host a super regional due to a venue scheduling conflict, a la Indiana State a couple years ago. how did that all play out? It was the winner of that year in 2015. I just had it up. Was Virginia. They won it all. Brian O'Connor, his first title, who's one of the names that we added to our board recently as a possible mover to Mississippi State.
Yeah, we'll get to that coming up after the break, but let's finish some reactions to this field of 64. I got a soapbox, okay? You talk about scheduling conflict or facility being able to be utilized. I just saw before, I don't know, as I was getting out of bed and scrolling through the Twitter machine, I noticed that my home state, Illinois, their scheduled baseball championships, and it might have been only 3A and 4A. Either way, state championship finals were scheduled to be played at the home of the Peoria Chiefs. Well, Major League Baseball somehow made some scheduling of some events on the calendar at the home of the Peoria Chiefs. And during the time where it was already scheduled to be hosting IHSA finals for high school baseball, the Chiefs realized when it was too late that they had already booked it for the high school championships, but they couldn't do anything at that point because Major League Baseball is going to supplant the high school baseball championships. And they tried to do all that they could. And obviously, we're unable to kick out Major League Baseball and whatever they've got coming in now. So they take priority. Peoria Chiefs, what are we doing? Who's keeping your books? Who is looking to see, oh, you want to do something on this day? I guarantee you what happened. Somebody was like, oh, so flattered, so humbled, the organization, like, whatever you need, Major League Baseball, we'll clear our schedule. We got nothing going on. Didn't take the opportunity to actually open up a spreadsheet or a database wherever they have all their schedule. I'm thinking of some old-timey book, like it's a guest registry that's binded with 1,000 pages going back 50 years at the home of the Peoria Chiefs, and all this dust is flying as you're picking the book open and thumbing through, and they couldn't see, oh, IHSA, state finals, state championships for Illinois. No, MLB baseball, come right in. So IHSA is going to be playing at the University of Illinois. So hat tip to you, Champaign. Hat tip to you, Fighting Illini, for being able to make space for the IHSA state finals coming up here shortly in a few weeks. So anyway.
Well, according to the Field of 64, Illinois will not be playing baseball after the month of May. So should be just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So
anyways, reactions to the Field of 64 you asked. So I love it. I would play with this field right now. I think this is a beautiful field. And you know why? Because you asked me two questions. You asked which regional shakes out most favorably, which draws the most difficult. I circled 4 that I think are mighty difficult, and I circled 3 that I think are relatively easy. And you know what one of the 4 is I circled that was mighty difficult? The number 1 seed in Austin.
Yes.
I think that is a juicy regional. You have Texas, the number 1 team in the country and number 1 in RPI. TCU, number 17 in the country in RPI and competing in the Big 12. You have UT Rio Grande Valley, number 37 in RPI, and they've already played Texas. They're not afraid of the Horns. They're not afraid of TCU. They played them in the midweek. Give it to them. They got nothing to lose. And then Death Taxes and Oral Roberts as a dirty 4 seed. All right? That is a tough regional. I know Oral Roberts is 103 in RPI right now, but, I mean, put them in the postseason and the Eagles fly. All right? I think that's one of the 4 toughest regionals of this projection right now.
It gets me so excited looking at this because you're seeing the collection of teams and the geographical preference, emphasis, priorities that are in place, and the preservation of geographic rivalries, whether it's between teams, programs, fan bases, cities, towns, the state pride that exists, certain areas of the country, teams that aren't normally facing each other or scheduling each other or arguably ducking each other throughout the regular season. Or a team like Texas who thinks, hey, you're beneath us. Why are we scheduling you? Why are we going to put ourselves in RPI peril or a nightmare situation where we could potentially lose a midweek game? LSU losing by 10 to Northwestern State a week ago in the midweek. These things happen. But to put that collection of teams, yes, that is mighty. And UT Rio Grande Valley, top 4 still of the Southland at this point, who got off to a scorching hot start. TCU, who is rounding into form and has found their identity. And then, yes, Oral Roberts and the pedigree that they have.
They're here. They're
team,
back, baby.
There they are. I mean, you kick them when they're down and they continue to gnaw at your leg. All right. Like it just does not matter. They're there. The other one, similarly, I don't know how to say that word.
Similarly. Yeah.
Similarly, Arkansas.
Yep. You know why? Because who's down at the 4 seed? SEMO, who kicked him out last year. I was like, no way. There they are.
And then you got Kansas, who's second place in the Big 12, having a historic year under Dan Fitzgerald. Dan Fitzgerald might be one of those candidates for Mississippi State. And you got Iowa, 20-4 in the Big 10.
Yeah, I mean, had that one. Yeah.
Honestly, every single one of these 16 pods and regionals that are projected by D1Baseball.com. And we could do the exercise ourselves if we wanted to, folks. But guess what? I ain't got the time for it. Nope. I'm not making the time for it.
Don't care.
I've got too many other I got D1Baseball.com. Tip the cap to you, my friend. Kendall Rogers, Aaron Fitt, Michael Rooney, Joe Healy, Mark Etheridge, all those guys.
Jack DeLongshaw.
Eric Sorensen, DeLongshaw. Thank you. Y'all are dudes. Y'all are ass team members, okay? Y'all get ass honors, all Shaq Squad honors to the folks at D1 Baseball for giving us this canvas to be able to parse through and react to. So thank you. And each one of these 16 sites, you can create so many different commentaries, storylines, angles, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's easy. So-and-so dated this person's daughter. So-and-so went to this school, transferred. There was some political demon that overtook each of these entities, former agent, whatever. I don't know. Ole Miss going to NC State. Mike Bianco against Elliott Avent.
Amazing.
I mean, that's terrific.
It is.
It's sensational. West Virginia getting Kentucky, Virginia Tech, and George Mason. My guy, James Quinn Irons, might have a legitimate shot at winning the Golden Spikes Award, Con. Okay?
Yeah.
This guy is leading the country in RBIs, not to mention top 10 in like homers and batting average. He's an ass man.
He is. He was the first ass man of the year, James Quinn Irons. He led off the all-Shaq squad, the man from George Mason, and right now they are the projected 4 seed in the Morgantown Regional with West Virginia, Kentucky, and Virginia Tech. That is not an easy regional for West Virginia to win.
No. And it seems like an annual affair where Georgia Tech and Georgia might be paired. I mean, there they are together again.
They are. I actually have that as one of my 3 easiest 1-seed regionals. I don't have any belief in the Stetson Hatters or the Yale Bulldogs, unfortunately.
No. I think that's Georgia. That's Georgia Tech. Can the Yellow Jackets regain the form that they had prior to 2-3 weeks ago? And Georgia, are they going to get burned by using every single person on their team to throw this year? Because they have 2 guys throwing over 40 innings, but then, Con, even you and I would get some innings under Wes Johnson this year. I mean, it's remarkable. And Brian Curley is the second one in eating those innings up, and he's coming out of the pen. It's Leighton Finley and it's Brian Curley, the only 2 over 40 innings pitched. Clemson, Bama, Xavier. Okay, right today. Let's see. The UC Irvine. Let's look at this one. Number 8 national seed.
Yep.
Arizona lands there. USC and San Diego. Again, I don't see anyone other than Arizona really challenging the Anteaters there.
Oh, really? I disagree. I think USC can absolutely put up a fight there.
Okay.
I have that as one of my 4 toughest.
All right.
I have UC Irvine, Arizona, USC all possibly winning that regional. I think Arizona has a very good shot at winning that regional. I would give USC a puncher's chance. They're going to have fans there.
Yeah.
Right? How far is Irvine, California from Los Angeles? Can't be that far, right? I know California's big, but let's see. Irvine to Los Angeles. That's only an hour and 10 minutes.
It's 40 miles. It's 40 miles.
They'll be there. They'll be at Irvine, and they'll be loud. They'll be boisterous because they got to get out of Los Angeles because that's going to be UCLA country with them hosting a regional with Cal Poly, A&M, and Fresno State, which I also have as one of my 4 toughest regionals because I could see Cal Poly or Texas A&M or Fresno State. Hell, Fresno State one-time College World Series winner once a long time ago, like 2008, I want to say was when they won it. They could win that regional. That's up for grabs for anybody.
Texas paired with UCLA is the 16, LSU and Coastal Carolina. LSU the 2, Florida State the 3, paired with the Auburn Regional, Arkansas at 4 with NC State at 13. Carolina and West Virginia, your 5-12 pairing, the Knoxville and Corvallis.
Of course.
Yes, 6-11, Knoxville, Corvallis, Tennessee and Oregon State. Yeah, you're right. That would be a rematch from last year with West Virginia falling to North Carolina in Chapel Thrill. Clemson the 7, Georgia the 10, Clemson Athens, and then Irvine Nashville. UC Irvine paired with Vanderbilt, top seed. And this is where that geography thing really comes into play. Love that Louisville is there, East Tennessee State, and even Missouri State. That can be, and Vanderbilt has underwhelmed at this stage the last couple of years. So
they have. However, I think this shakes out very nicely for them. I would lean Vandy heavy in that regional pod. I mean, Louisville certainly has a chance, but I would lean heavy Vandy in that pod.
And to be paired with Irvine, certainly gettable to make your way back to Omaha.
Absolutely.
And that was Georgia NC State last year, and we saw NC State the 9 go to Foley Field and win in Athens and take it.
Yep.
So, all right, let's take a break. Come back. We'll tee up the weekend lineup card. Look ahead to some of the games we're most looking forward to this weekend, and then before that, we'll dive into some of the candidates at Mississippi State, anything we missed from earlier in the week. Before we do, though, Baseball Barbecue, 3D-20. That's the promo code, 3D-20. Go to baseballbarbecue.com. As Con reminded and encouraged all of you, look, mom likes barbecue too. She likes to cook out. She likes a big, juicy Schasburger or maybe a bratwurst or Italian or Polish or steak, whatever it is. I don't care about the steak, but it's not about me. It's about Ma. Okay, so get her some nice grilling tools or get yourself some grilling tools that you can brandish with the baseball bat, the wooden ends on the spatula, on the pitchfork, on everything that you can think of that is related to grilling season. The home plate cutting board, jersey outline cutting board. Get it for yourself and then brandish those things for Ma on Mother's Day. Put the order in now. Go to baseballbarbecue.com. Promo code is 3D-20. Back in a minute on Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers.
A true teammate takes on every day with a winner's attitude, gets up when they fall down, and leaves it all on the field. There's a group of teammates who do all these things every single day. But they're more than your typical athlete. They're kids dealing with unthinkable medical circumstances. Team Impact matches children facing serious illness or disability with college sports teams, creating a long-term, life-changing experience for everyone involved. Help us get all kids in the game. Visit teamimpact.org. Team Impact. All in, all together.
College softball season is in full swing, and we're just the ones to talk about it. Join me, former Stanford Cardinal and award-winning broadcaster Jenna Becerra and Amanda Lorenz every week as we deliver the latest in college softball on the D1 Softball Podcast. We've got all the latest, whether it's in the circle or in the batter's box. We have interviews with coaches, players, and many more. We'll go through the week's top 25 poll and give our insights, as well as our plays, wins, and whiffs of the week. Let us get you in the know on all things college softball. Listen on D1Softball.com and the Varsity Network app.
As Con and I outlined earlier this week, the big news story out of college baseball, Chris Lemonis is out at Mississippi State, 25-19, 7-14 this season, less than 4 years removed from winning the university's first national championship of any kind in 2021. He didn't last 7 full seasons, and there's been a little bit more time to process this. Kendall Rogers, D1Baseball.com, has put out his big board. Many of the names that we talked about earlier this week, David Kahn, which certainly provides some validation. More so for you, not me, because I didn't want to talk about Troy's Skylar Meade, who's one of the candidates. Did not, however. That is on Kendall Rogers' list. Even Lane Burroughs, the Lane train in Louisiana Tech out of Ruston. Motto of consistency there of what he's done for the Bulldogs. So Meade and Burroughs are good mid-major, currently coaches in those ranks that I think either one of them would be willing to at least entertain. I think Skylar Meade would be more willing to make the jump from Troy to Mississippi State. I think Lane Burroughs would be more likely to remain in Ruston. But again, money does talk. Some of the other names, assistants, Josh Elander at Tennessee, top assistant under Tony Vitello, Will Coggin at Florida. I'm curious who you might think of the SEC sitting head coaches in Nick Mingione, Rob Vaughn at Alabama, even Wes Johnson at Georgia. Would any of them, I think Mingione would be the one more likely at his current spot to leave for Mississippi State. What you might think about that, David Kahn. But one big name, one big fish that I don't think we mentioned on Tuesday, and maybe it's because we went through this dog and pony show with Schloss leaving Texas A&M for Texas, and Virginia's Brian O'Connor deciding to remove himself from consideration at Texas A&M, or it might have been Texas. Either way, one of those two big jobs, because of the dominoes that were falling, he decided to stay put at Virginia due to family considerations. Is Brian O'Connor a legitimate candidate here to consider the move to Starkville when he wanted to stay put in Charlottesville less than a year ago?
I'm going to say no, because if you had family considerations about moving to Texas or Texas A&M, what's the difference? If it was geographic, what's the difference between that really and Mississippi State going to Starkville? No shade to Mississippi State, Texas, or Texas A&M. They're incredible programs, and anyone would be, thrilled to lead those programs. But Brian O'Connor has built an institution here at Virginia, and he's won national titles at Virginia. Like, what? I don't know if, unless he really thinks like I've done all I can do here and let me try and prove myself in the premier conference in college baseball. And, like you said, money talks. Those would be the reasons for him to go to an SEC school. But Virginia's always right there. I mean, they were the number 2 team in the preseason this year in college baseball. They haven't had the season they wanted, but still, I mean, they've started to turn the corner as they defeated Georgia Tech over the weekend. And I don't know. I right now I'm going to say no. Let's see what happens in the postseason. If Virginia has an underwhelming postseason again, and maybe Brian O'Connor looks at the landscape and says, I'm not getting who I wanted here. Maybe I can go to Mississippi State and recruit a little bit better, have a better shot at winning the College World Series or getting, a more favorable draw in the postseason. Sure, you could put him back in the mix. Right now, I'll say no. I'm intrigued that you think Lane Burroughs would stay in Ruston. He's been there since 2017. I wonder why you think Lane Burroughs would not jump at the opportunity to coach an SEC school.
I think he's a guy that truly appreciates the surroundings, the community, what he's built in Ruston, the way he is viewed, the way people engage with him and this team and the brand and the consistency that he has built in Ruston with Louisiana Tech, the comfort level, the fact he's had success. He's had conference championships. He's gone to the tournament. He is a guy that has gotten Louisiana Tech on the doorstep from the mid-major ranks to a super regional, still trying to claw their way to that stage and get to Omaha. But I just think a lot of it has to do with comfort. A lot of it has to do with what Louisiana Tech has given to him and him giving back to the university. And can they match whatever Mississippi State would provide? Absolutely not. But like Brian O'Connor, you would be taking that job to eventually get fired. There's no other way to look at it. Based on the volatility around Mississippi State and them going through the coaches that they have and having a target on your back from an expectation standpoint, Chris Lemonis won a College World Series less than 4 years ago. It'll be 4 years this June. I mean, he earned them more than 220 wins in less than 7 years. He's playing in the toughest conference of America. He's coaching in the toughest conference in the country. Like if not to say these guys are ducking that opportunity, but like if you're Brian O'Connor, let's start with the O'Connor example. You've built an institution, as you said. One national championship in 15, runner-up in 14, 7 College World Series in total, 900-plus wins, 705 win percentage. It's insane. You've tutored 102 Major League Baseball draft picks. You are the premier developer of talent and culture. You are the poster child for all of the greatness that college baseball represents, much like Danny Hall at Georgia Tech, Elliott Avent at NC State. You can say Paul Maneri, now at South Carolina, although you might have a short memory. All of these names, okay, these are fixtures, Tim Corbin, in the sport and what the sport represents. If you're Brian O'Connor, yes, you have developed a certain level of security, a sense of comfort in building something and being at the controls and knowing that, hey, what am I leaving? How much better is my situation really going to be than what I currently have? Okay. He's getting investment. He's getting top players. He recruits well. Do these guys want the challenge now of taking everything that they've done at their age, certainly Brian O'Connor's age more than Lane Burroughs, to try and replicate it in the greatest conference in the land with the highest expectations under the most intense pressure cooker that you can imagine? If that's part of their DNA, which, for me, I want the biggest challenge. I want to be uncomfortable. I want to embrace toughness. I want the hard way. But I'm 36 years old, and all I have to represent in my life is a 9-year-old child. Okay? Honestly, that's how I view it. I haven't accomplished a damn thing in my life. For these guys, unless Lane Burroughs, but certainly for Brian O'Connor, everything I just said, why leave what you have? Unless you took your name out of the ring due to family considerations during the Texas A&M transition, and maybe afterwards, through further reflection and through the regular season to this point where you've underachieved, preseason number 2, you have some regrets or you have some second thoughts of what could have been and hitting the restart button. And now an olive branch is being extended your way. I wouldn't even call it an olive branch, though, because that's a little hard considering the makeup and the resume of Brian O'Connor and what he's done. But you have an opportunity to join forces with one of the most powerful brands in college baseball. Granted, just one national championship, and that was Chris Lemonis. Mm-hmm. But we talked about the attendance records, the crowds, the fan base, the energy, the enthusiasm at the Dude, left field lounge, everything that it represents historically. If you want that next challenge and you want to change the scenery for whatever it may be, like, now is the time. I don't think Brian O'Connor is that far-fetched. I think he's going to stay at Virginia, but I wouldn't be surprised. And to me, Con, to your point earlier in the week, that is the home run hire.
Yes.
If Mississippi State can pull that off. Chris Pollard would be great. Okay. And I think I think eventually would be a home run hire. The current Duke head coach would be viewed that way. Okay. But he's not going to win the press conference in the way, and he still would win it, but he wouldn't win it in the way Brian O'Connor would. That would be an absolute home run on the surface in the way the fans perceive this head baseball coaching hire in Starkville.
No, it certainly would be. I mean, Brian O'Connor's won 5 College World, has made it the College World Series 7 times. He won the College World Series in 2015. He's nearly accumulated 1,000 wins in his head coaching career. I mean, he is sensational. My one question is this. So he pulls out of the running last year for Texas A&M. Was he hoping to go back to his alma mater in Creighton and be the coach in waiting? And then they hired Mark Kingston as that. And I have to look back at the timeline to think, see how that all laid out and when that all exactly happened. But he's a Creighton alum. He was a part of the Creighton 91 College World Series team. He started his coaching career as the pitching coach at Creighton for 3 seasons. Was he potentially hoping to be the next Creighton head coach? I mean, he's from Omaha. He was born there. Like, I wonder if that might have, if his family concerns, I wonder if that might have played a reason in him pulling out last year. And now Mark Kingston is the head coach in waiting at Creighton. So that job has kind of sailed by him, at least in the immediacy. So maybe that leans more towards him thinking about moving somewhere else. That might actually lean him towards being out the door in Charlottesville. I also think he's going to stay, like I already said, but I was looking at Brian O'Connor's info and I'm like, well, he's from Omaha. Maybe he thought he was going to be the next coach in waiting at Creighton. Who knows? Who knows how attached he is to his alma mater?
Well, no one knows.
That was the thought.
No one knows what's going on inside his head other than Brian O'Connor, right? And I would say to you in this family consideration thing, I think the family considerations is more so he doesn't want to leave, and purely speculation here, but the dude is 54 years old. Actually,
53. 53. Oh, no, 54. No, yes. His birthday was April 21st. He's 54.
Yeah, he just turned 54. His birthday was like a week ago. He came to Virginia July 8th, 2003. He was 34 years old then, Con. Okay? Yeah. So any real family, I'm just going to go on a limb here, he's built that up, okay, over the last 20 years in Charlottesville in terms of his wife, any kids that he has, grandchildren. They may have branched out elsewhere, but I don't know how much Omaha or Nebraska is still, and I don't want to speak for him entirely, but like, I don't know how much of an influence what he left behind, whether his parents or whomever is still out there, any nostalgia or charm that exists from his time out that way is going to influence his decisions here moving forward. I think it's purely just based on being at Virginia for over 20 years and having the success that he has. But maybe the calculus has changed in other ways, and we're not going to know until, and we may never know, but when the chips fall with this hire with Mississippi State and what direction they want to go, you would think for Trey Selman, this is going to be phone call number 1. Has to be.
I would agree. And then phone call number 2 is probably Nick Mingione, right? Who was an assistant at Mississippi State for 8 seasons, 2009 and 2016. I know he didn't play there, but he was a coach there for a long time. That was his last stop on the assistant train before he became the head coach at Kentucky. And he's been very successful at Kentucky, you know. So they
you
won the
don't
regular
even
season last year in the SEC. He has proven, and they went to the College World Series. He has proven that he can ascend to the mountaintop in the toughest conference in college baseball.
And you don't even have to make the call. He's coming to campus this weekend.
So. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It's an on-campus visit for Nick Mingione. And I actually will say Will Kogan is someone I didn't think about, but he played at Mississippi State for 2 years. He was an assistant as a student assistant for 4 years. And then he was an actual assistant coach for another 2 seasons. So he's been in Starkville plenty of times. So if you really want to, if you're Mississippi State, bring somebody home, as a lot of programs phrase it when they bring someone back, like West Virginia did with Rich Rodriguez when they hired him as their new football coach, returning after a long hiatus. That would be another type of hire, someone who played there, someone who's coached there. Nick Mingione coached there for a long time. Will Kogan did both. Why not bring him back and give him a shot?
There's also Kevin Shaw, Coastal Carolina. I really like the Skylar Meade angle. Chris Pollard, I think, would be called number 3, though. 1 to Brian O'Connor, 2 to Nick Mingione, 3 to Chris Pollard. You could throw Tom Walter in there. We mentioned him early in the week as well. There's Skip Johnson.
I don't know if that moves the needle for him, honestly. Yeah. I don't think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. And then even Cliff Godwin, ECU, and your boy, what was it, Reggie Wiltz?
Reggie Willits at Oklahoma, I think, should definitely receive a phone call.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think you should call Reggie Willits. Now, Reggie might say, listen, Skip and I have already worked out a succession plan. I'm good. Thank you very much. But if you don't make the phone call, you'll never know.
All right, let's get to the lineup card. Final thing here. We're going to go over a set of games, things we're most looking forward to this weekend. Weekend number 12, the first of the final 3 regular season weekends. Kyle Shasberger, David Kahn, Dugouts, Dumbbells, and Dingers. This glance at the games brought to you by the Borgoballs. BackyardBaseballBros.com. Raised seams engineered for maximum movement, dimple texture, boost the distance, and spin. I'm looking at this redesign, just exquisite website with the foam core, safe for indoor play, built to last, safe for outdoor play, obviously, but also use that thing indoors. Ridiculous fun can be had. The Borgoball was born 6 months ago, really. I mean, the balls dropped in January. They had to restock since the first 2,000 went out the door. 4 packs of these at $19.99. Get yours today. Lightweight, safe, and ridiculous fun. Seems to mimic the movement of a professional baseball. The OG Borgoball. Clean look, dirty movement, built for backyard legends. Go to BackyardBaseballBros.com and make your order here today. SEC, start with them. Texas at Arkansas. This is on Thursday night. Longhorns, top team in the country. Arkansas has been backsliding Thursday through Saturday series. You also got LSU visiting Texas A&M. The Aggies, who were hot, lost 3 one-run games to Texas in Austin this past weekend. Con, I think that's a series that the Aggies can win. It's not a surefire lock of mine, though. Anything else from the SEC that is standing out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll throw in the other 2 ranked-on-ranked matchups. Auburn at Tennessee, Vanderbilt at Alabama. Tennessee is backsliding as well, so they need that series in the worst way. And then Vandy at Alabama, it's a ranked-on-ranked battle. You can't ignore it in the SEC. I am more looking forward to the ACC slate this weekend, though. Obviously, Texas, Arkansas, LSU, Texas A&M are 2 titanic matchups. But the ACC, NC State at Miami, who is scorching hot and has worked their way into the postseason field. They are currently the 3 seed in the Auburn Regional, along with Southern Miss and Ball State right now. So I'm looking forward to NC State, who is now a host, the number 13 overall seed, going to Coral Gables and facing the Mark Lightshakes and the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah, NC State 15-6 in the league with that 3-game lead over FSU. I like the Clemson and Florida State series in the ACC. Just 2 massive, ginormous brands, 2 of the favorites heading into the year. Clemson, who is a top 5 team nationally at 36-10, 13-8 in the league. taking on a Florida State team, 12-6 in the league, 31-9. Remember, Florida State and Virginia both losing 3 league games due to that series being canceled a couple of weeks ago. So that altering the standings some, as Florida State really tied with NC State, just 3 games back in the win column, but they each only have 6 losses. Big 12, TCU at Arizona. You like that one also?
I do. I do really like that one as well. The Big 12 is a total crapshoot right now, behind West Virginia and Kansas, because you got West Virginia leading the Big 12 at 16-3, Kansas right behind them at 15-6. Then you got TCU and Arizona State at 14-7, and Arizona at 13-8. So the Big 12 is still very much up for grabs. Obviously, West Virginia is the team to catch right now with a 1.5 game lead over Kansas and a 14-game winning streak in the Big 12 conference. So all these teams are chipping from behind. But if you remember, Arizona is the only team to beat West Virginia in a series all year. TCU stumbled recently. See if they can right themselves against a surging Arizona Wildcats team that is 13-8 in the conference, 31-13 overall. And they do not lose at home. They are 21-3 this year is the Arizona Wildcats at home. TCU on the road, though, is 11-5. Juicy series coming up.
I just got an email from Todd Curtis. Thank you, Todd Curtis, for sending me the Arkansas baseball format here. Because now I have time. As soon as we end this podcast, I can traffic that, prepare for an SEC radio call with you and the boys, the Hoover brothers, with Gabe Genovese, Tim Bickford, Dave Kahn, and Kyle Schasberger. And then I'm going to go out to the golf course here by about 3 o'clock and just going to play by myself, I think, ahead of our 18 that we will play tomorrow together. I look forward to that. Haven't golfed with you in a while, so I need to get out. I got a lot to detox. I charged my battery from Disney. Finally, was able to sleep in. Got out of bed around 9:30 or so, and I'm ready to get weird. I'm ready to live life to the fullest again.
He's back, baby. He's
back.
So back.
USC might be back. To your point about thinking that is a tough regional. Where were they? Irvine, USC. Was that where they were projected when we were talking?
Yes.
Okay. They have won 7 in a row. So I did not realize that. 30-14 overall, 14-7. They're in 4th place, really tied for 3rd with Oregon, each at 14-7. Going up against UCLA, who was 2nd behind Iowa in the Big Ten at 16-5. So UCLA and USC, 2 of the Big Ten's top 4 teams, are going head-to-head. Great uniform matchup. The tradition that exists between those 2 powerful West Coast brands. And it's a Big Ten showdown between the Bruins and the Trojans. Michigan and Ohio State, not the game that it is on football, but I thought it's worth mentioning maybe for those Big Ten degenerates who love classical Big Ten competition. But really, Iowa at UW. We tried to get ourselves a Hawkeye-centric guest, but just couldn't pull it off for today's pod with their travel up to Seattle. But this is going to be a big one.
Yeah, it's going to be a massive one. I mean, Iowa continues to be atop the Big 12 conference, and they have to go win, their series on the road if they want to be able to make noise and be, considered a force to be reckoned with. You got to go win these series on the road and go all the way, halfway across the country if you're Seattle because you're in Iowa, or if you're Iowa because you're Midwest. But go get the series win and continue your surge across the top of the conference.
My favorite non-P4 series, Lamar at Southeastern. Southeastern is leading the Southland. They have a 3-game lead in the loss column on UT Rio Grande Valley. They're ahead of McNeese, who is 2nd and 17-7. Lamar is 16-8. So it goes Southeastern, McNeese, UT Rio Grande Valley, and then Lamar. Those are your top 4 in the Southland. I don't know if we're getting multiple teams out of the Southland, but it's certainly a conference that can put any one of those teams, any one of those top 4, whoever's going to get the automatic bid, into the tournament. And I think either one of them can wreak havoc. Currently, it's UT Rio Grande Valley, who is slated in to that Austin regional, which we feel like is a very tough draw for the Texas Longhorns, and what should be a fun regional here as we project more than 3 weeks out. But Lamar, 4th place team, playing at the number 1 team of the Southland and Southeastern. That's my favorite non-P4 series of the upcoming weekend.
Yeah, and I've got 2 of them. I've got Southern Miss and Arkansas State, a Sun Belt bout. Southern Miss, number 2 in the conference right now, behind Coastal Carolina. They're 15-6 overall, and number 22 in the country, or 15-6 in the conference. Arkansas State is 11-10. They are tied for 5th with Appalachian State in the conference right now. So I really like that matchup in a Sun Belt bout. And then you've got UC Irvine, the number 8 overall seed currently, according to D1 Baseball, facing off with the potential 4 seed in their own region, San Diego, UCSD, coming up this weekend. So we will watch that one with bated breath to see, because look, Cal Poly, they kind of blew it from a hosting perspective. They're still projected in, but they've kind of blown it from a hosting, notch. UC Irvine can't stumble here. Can't pull a Western Kentucky. You got to win these series. So we are watching every UC Irvine series with bated breath to see if the Anteaters can become the first non-Power 5 top 8 national seed since 2015, ECU excluded.
Great stuff, Con. That's a podcast, man. You got anything else you want to say to empty the notebook? I did have one STA I wanted to mention, Clemson baseball account. They debuted a new workout facility right next door to Doug Kingsmore Stadium. Gaines. I mean, they got room for a 40-yard dash space, cutting-edge technology. I mean, all the weight racks and squat racks and the color coordination and just the beautiful, luxurious space for the new players' workout facility for the baseball team right next to Doug Kingsmore Stadium. If you have a chance, check it out at Clemson Baseball on Twitter, on X.
No, that's awesome. I do want to give you the floor because I believe you wanted to end the podcast on a bit of a sombering note as we remember the wife of our good friend, Jeff Dantzler.
Yeah, think of this as life advice to remind us all that our days are numbered and we don't know when we are going to expire. It can happen at any moment. Emily Dantzler is the wife of Jeff Dantzler, JD, the voice of Georgia baseball, Georgia women's basketball. Has been doing that for, I think over 20 years. And he and Emily have been married for the last 7 or 8. And Emily died at the age of 41 due to cancer. 41 years old. Now, she had been sick. They had seen this coming. I don't know for how long. I don't want to say. I don't want to speak out of turn. But obviously, you can try to imagine, but none of us can ever imagine what somebody is feeling in these moments. And when you lose somebody suddenly like that, and certainly so young. So, hold your loved ones tight. Remember those who are most important to you. Think of those that are no longer with you, and try to do them some good. Try to do them, provide them some honor with how you act and conduct yourself each and every day. And just wanted to, bring light to Emily Dantzler, leaving JD, the voice of Georgia baseball. Him and DJ David Johnson do a terrific job with the Dogs. JD was in the booth on Tuesday. Emily passed on Monday because it's one of those things. It's ingrained in their lives as much as it was for JD, what Georgia and that brand meant. It certainly was for Emily, and she would have wanted him. This is just what I think would have wanted him to have done that game and be in the booth. So one of our cohorts in JD is certainly struggling, but he's not the only one. We know people face this sort of thing each and every day. I had my own reminder, yesterday celebrating my mom's heavenly birthday. She would have been, 63, and she left me in 2019. So it's been 6 years since she's been gone, and that was a sort of cancer where it took 2 weeks, boom, gone. So it can hit you fast. So again, be thankful for what we all have. Stop complaining about your life. And yes, I'm talking to you, not you, David. I'm talking to you, the listener. Okay, because we all have things that we complain about, and we had a terrific last 3 days with an audio retreat reflecting, having some introspective on our lives and how we do things, but also, how we lead, how we problem solve together, how we lead with empathy, and remember that and take that into your everyday life. So it's been a powerful few days, but, again, not without heartbreak and sickness and things that we all got to deal with away from our daily jobs too at the same time. Yeah. So to put life into perspective, it's something we should always take the time to do, to count our blessings. And for that fan at PNC Park, I'm sorry I dogged you earlier, man. I hope you're doing okay.
You're doing absolutely. Okay. And for those who are interested, there is a celebration of life planned for Emily Dantzler. Athens First United Methodist Church, 2 p.m. On Wednesday, May 7th. A reception to follow in Athens First UMC's Hancock Hall for those of us listeners in Athens, Georgia. And in lieu of flowers, the Dantzler family is asking for donations to be made to 3 Dog Night Rescue Wish List. That's 3 Dog Night Rescue Wish List, as Jeff and Emily have 2 dogs, Albus and Hermie. And they would like, in lieu of flowers, for donations to be made to that organization. Rest in peace, Emily Dantzler. JD and the family, we're thinking about you.
All right, go Dogs. We'll be back on Tuesday.